Thank you so much, Alison Bladh, for coming on Wellness Your Way. I'm thrilled to have you here today.
Oh, thank you, Megan. It's a pleasure to be on your podcast. Thank you for having me.
Of course, it's going to be a great discussion, useful to so many people. And I've given you a formal introduction, but could you please just tell our audience a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm a registered nutritional therapist, and I specialize in women's health during perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause. So that Pacific time in a woman's life that can actually be quite difficult. So I work with my clients using the power of nutrition, mindset, and lifestyle modifications. And I've been working in the health and wellness industry for over 30 years now. So I've had a lot of experience with helping women through this time in their lives.
That's amazing. Well, something that unfortunately is not as talked about as it needs to be. So I'm glad that you're going to help us shed some light on it today. And my first question seems pretty obvious because people think they know, but then there's a lot of ambiguity. So let's just start with the basics. What is menopause? And can you talk to us about the stages of menopause?
Yeah, I mean, that is a great question, Megan. And we always assume that people understand what menopause is. But I mean, I see that with my clients as well, is that we think that we kind of understand, but we don't actually understand all the different phases of this transition. The first phase, you've basically got three stages. You've got perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause. Perimenopause is the first stage, and this on average starts around the age of 45. It can be early, it can be later. We're all very individual. And what perimenopause is it's when everything really starts to just become a bit unbalanced. Your hormones are a bit like a roller coaster. You know, your estrogen can be high one month and your progesterone low, and then it can be the opposite the following month. And this can be the reason that you start having all the classic menopausal symptoms, you know, like hot flashes, weight gain, irritability, brain fog, you know, all those things can just creep up on you during perimenopause. And perimenopause lasts, again, this is on average to the age of 51.
Mhm.
But during perimenopause, I think it's very important to point out here, you are still fertile, you're still ovulating, you're still having periods every month. But when you get into menopause, what we call menopause, this actually means that you haven't had a period for a year. So you haven't ovulated, you haven't had a menstruation for a year. Then you are actually in menopause. So, for example, if you were in perimenopause and you hadn't had a period for 8 months, but then you did, you'd still be in perimenopause. You've got to have that whole year straight.
Yeah.
And then you can actually say that you're in menopause. And menopause means that you've stopped ovulating, you're no longer able to get pregnant. And then all the time after that, you're basically in postmenopause. And postmenopause is the time, you know, you can have 30 plus years left of your life. And this is where your body still produces a very small amount of estrogen and progesterone, but you don't have the levels that you had before you went into perimenopause. And obviously you can't get pregnant anymore. So they're the three real stages, and it's very individual for every woman how we experience these phases.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. I think to my clients, even who are perimenopausal, the most surprising thing is that gap between the onset of perimenopause and the actual menopause is 5, 6, 7, 10 years sometimes for people. People tend to think, even women tend to think it's like, oh, it's going to be 6 months and then all of a sudden I'm going to stop. And it doesn't usually work that way. So thank you for
No, not
sharing.
at all. No, it doesn't. It can go on for many years. Absolutely, that's very true.
Yes. And when you say go on for many years, I'm imagining several people in the audience who might just be experiencing the onset of some of those symptoms and they're like, "Oh no, I have 10 years of this? Oh my goodness." Because so many people think menopause and the transition really has to be awful. And there are some parts of it. I mean, change is difficult for everyone in every situation. So I'm certainly not saying it's easy, but I am saying there are things we can do to support our body to minimize some of those negative symptoms. And I think that you agree with that. So can you tell us anything you want about how to minimize those symptoms?
Yeah, it's very true, and there's actually research that shows when you come into perimenopause, if you're in a healthy state, then you will most likely not experience the symptoms in the same way that you would if you went into perimenopause in maybe a slightly more unhealthier condition. So, it's all about looking after yourself. Some of the things that you can do, one key thing is weight management, because that has been shown in research that, if you are carrying a little bit of extra weight, you may suffer from the menopausal symptoms. You may have more hot flashes, irritability, mood swings. It tends to just make everything a little bit worse.
Mm-hmm.
Some key things that you should really think about doing is, and this might sound very basic, but it is such a crucial thing, is to stay hydrated.
Yes.
Is to drink water or herbal teas, or there's some vegetable juices that are good. A very interesting point is, as we get older as women, we lose the thirst sensation. So we don't have that, decreases slightly, that
Wow.
urge to drink. So it's really important that we remain hydrated and be very mindful of drinking enough water or herbal teas or whatever you like. So that is really crucial, and that will help with menopausal symptoms, and also how you feel mentally, because your brain needs hydration and water to function properly. So hydration is a really key point. Another key area is to reduce all the hydrogenated fats and highly processed fats, because this again has been shown to aggravate hot flashes. Like high fat, high sugar really doesn't help menopausal symptoms. So what you want to do is really try to increase what we call essential fatty acids, which you can get from like oily fish, etc., because these really help to balance out the body. And again, in research, it's been shown if you have a diet high in fatty acids, that may help to reduce hot flashes. And then calcium and vitamin D is crucial for bone health. Really make sure that you get enough sun exposure, because as we go into perimenopause and menopause, our bone density becomes less. So we really need these minerals to really, help boost that. Fiber is really crucial for gut health. There's so many things, because basically we forget how important estrogen is. It's like a master hormone, and when this starts to decline, it basically affects every system of the body. So, fiber, eating phytoestrogen rich foods, which are like linseeds and nuts and seeds, really important, and really whole foods as well. Not eating your processed refined foods. So there's many things that you can do, and they're all really tailored to helping you through this time period when estrogen is declining.
This is so amazing. Thank you for just dumping all of that wisdom on us. I appreciate it. I have a couple questions about what you said. The first is about water. I preach water and hydration to every single person who will listen. So it doesn't shock me at all. And when you said brain fog and brain energy and all of that, of course, our brain needs to be hydrated. But I've actually never thought about hydration as it relates to menopausal symptoms. And my hypothesis is that's because your liver needs so much hydration to flush through, and your liver's detoxifying some of this excess estrogen and really playing a big part in our hormone excretion. Is that the case, or is there some other mechanism?
No, that totally. I mean, your liver is a key organ for detoxification and everything really. It's a really important organ that we need to look after.
Yes.
And that's very true what you said, Megan. It's crucial for removing the excess estrogen in our system. So water is one of the things that we absolutely need, plus, you know, all the vitamins and minerals and everything to keep our system in tip-top condition. So yeah.
Absolutely. So you mentioned a couple things bordering on my favorite topic, which is nutrition. You mentioned the essential fatty acids and the fiber in particular, and how those can help with some of the symptoms. So let's go a little deeper on each one of those. The essential fatty acids, you mentioned fatty fish there. And there is some overlap actually with what you call linseeds. I think that's the same thing as what we call flax seeds. Is that true?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Great. So both fiber and essential fatty acids in those, and chia seeds and hemp seeds and things like that. Other essential fatty acid foods might be olives and avocados and the healthier types of oils. Certainly want to be careful about types of oils and things like that. So how would someone just focus on increasing those, or is there a specific guidance, like one with each meal or X per day? How would you guide them on those?
Yeah, essential fat. I mean, healthy fats in general are crucial for our health and for
Yes.
menopausal health. You know, there's such a stigma, isn't it? I know that the era that I grew up in, you know, fat was just, no, you didn't eat fat. It was
Yes.
the low carb, nothing contained fat.
Yes.
But now we've come to realize that our bodies do need fat.
Yes.
But it's the sort of fats we're eating, and
Yes.
essential fatty acids are crucial, as well as other fats like from, like you said, avocados, olive oil, you know, all your lovely nuts and seeds, butter, coconut oil. They're what we call healthy fats that the body needs. So what I like to say to my clients is try with every meal to incorporate some sort of fat source.
Great.
Roughly about a tablespoonful, like a flat tablespoonful of fat with every meal, because it also it gives you satiety. So if you eat fat, you won't get cravings, you won't feel as hungry.
Yes.
As far as essential fatty acids go, the recommendations are that we eat, for example, if you eat fish, eat 2 portions of fatty fish a week.
Okay.
Because unfortunately we have to be careful of the heavy metals
Yes.
are contained in fatty fish due to the environment. That's a whole another discussion, really, isn't it?
It
But
is.
you know, twice. And if you don't eat, you know, if you're a vegetarian or you're a vegan, you can get essential fatty acids from algae. There's supplementation, and you know, you can eat algae that contains fatty acids. So that there are many different sources, but it's really eating healthy fats with every meal that's so crucial. That we've all, I know for my age group, all of us are totally terrified of the word fat.
Yes, me too. The 90s really beat it into us that fat was terrible. And if you look at the trends, which I do, and I'm sure you do too, if you look at the obesity epidemic and all of those lines, and you correlate it with the amount of fat-free foods on the market, it's just almost a direct correlation. It's really, really amazing and sad that we were all fed that party line that didn't turn out to be true. So I love what you said. One serving, about 1 tablespoon. Of course, it depends. If it's avocado versus olive oil, you're going to have a larger volume of avocado, but 1 serving of those healthy fats per meal. And then for the essential fatty acids, 2 servings of fish per week. Or I would say, I'd love to hear your thought, a good quality fish oil supplement if you don't want to eat fish. And then if you're vegan or vegetarian, you can get it from algae. The only note there is that the conversion of ALA is we lose some. So you would need a pretty high dosage if you are going to do the vegan or vegetarian sources. Is that true?
Yeah, totally true. It's not as bioavailable as
Yeah.
the fatty acids from fish. So yeah, totally true. You would probably need to take a slightly higher dose.
Yes. Okay. Great. So then the other part of your what you've already given us related to nutrition is fiber. That's one of my favorite topics. I love fiber. You mentioned the flax seeds, the chia seeds, all of that. And of course, I will say vegetables. There are so many vegetables that are so rich in fiber, in addition to, of course, all the phytonutrients and antioxidants that will help with these symptoms too. So, can you just talk to us a little bit more about fiber as it relates to menopausal symptoms?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of fiber as well, and it's something that we don't eat enough of in
Yes,
general. We
true.
really are deficient in fiber, and
Hmm.
it is so crucial for the integrity and the health of the gut.
Yes.
But when we think of menopause, we need fiber for blood sugar balance, so regulating blood sugar, and also for insulin sensitivity.
Yes.
Because what can happen when our insulin levels start to decline, insulin, again, a major hormone,
Hmm.
this helps with the integrity of the gut, but it also helps with healthy insulin regulation.
Yes.
So a lot of women, when they come into perimenopause and menopause, they can find that their blood sugar levels just gradually creep up. And this can lead to insulin resistance. And then, if you don't look after yourself, then, that may lead to diabetes too.
Yes.
So we really have to be even more mindful of our blood sugar and what we eat during menopause. And what fiber does, it really helps because it's released slowly into the system. When we talk about blood sugar, we want whole foods, we want whole grain foods that really have the lovely fiber in. So when you eat foods, it's not going to shoot your blood sugar up, because they basically take longer to digest because of the fiber content in them. Highly refined, what we call white carbohydrates, as soon as you eat them, like bread, white bread, bagels, muffins, all those sort of things, they just shoot the blood sugar up immediately as you eat them. And then you get into this kind of roller coaster, because high blood sugar levels are not what we want. So your body produces the hormone insulin, which really is it's like the key that opens up the cell to allow the energy to go into the cell. So insulin is produced, the blood sugar is dropped, and then our body doesn't like that either. They're like, oh no, what's going on? You've got low blood sugar. So you'll get cravings to eat, most likely highly refined sugary foods. So you get into this awful roller coaster.
Yes.
When you eat fiber, you don't have those cravings. You don't go into that roller coaster. It's more of a lovely, smooth line there. So fiber, and it's also crucial for gut health, the microbiome. A lot of women find that they get constipated during menopause because of the lack of estrogen. So it's crucial. Fiber is really key, and like you say, Megan, from all vegetables, all the wonderful nuts and seeds, and there's so many sources of fiber. It's just being mindful and eating enough of it.
Yes, absolutely. I am not sure what the statistics are for the UK or Sweden, but I believe that the average American eats between 15 to 20 grams of fiber per day. And maybe that's 10 to 15. I need to check myself, but the recommendation, even the recommendation is low, 25 to 35, depending on your gender and your age. I mean, really, I'm encouraging people to eat 40, 50, like as much fiber as you can possibly get. I'm sure there's an upper limit somewhere, but we just almost all need to be eating more. I firmly agree with you.
Yeah, I think that what we recommend in Europe is that you should be eating 30 grams a day, but I agree. I think really you need to eat more than that, and the majority of people aren't eating that, like you say. They really aren't. And that does really affect the integrity of the gut.
Mm-hmm. And I have a strong stance on this, which I was trying not to bias in this question, but it's coming out anyway. But I'm truly curious to hear your thought, because I'm always willing to change. A lot of my clients will say, oh, okay, I need to get 40 grams of fiber. Can I just take 2 scoops of Metamucil or fiber and not eat my vegetables? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, great question. No, I'm as a nutritional therapist, I always say food first.
Yeah.
Because food has all the components in it. It isn't just, we can't break things down into their individual departments. You know,
Yes.
it's been made for us to eat. You know, it's got all the fiber, it's got the nutrients, it's got the minerals or vitamins, depending on what it is you're eating. So it's like it's packaged specifically to give us everything that we need. If you're just eating the one or taking a supplement, then it just doesn't have the same effect on your body. That's my opinion and what I've seen working with clients.
I agree completely. And I'm not anti-supplements by any means. I take supplements. I believe in targeted supplementation for sure. But I think that if we're going to overlook such a broad category like vegetables, one of the most crucial categories of food ever, and just try to replace every benefit of that with a supplement, I think we probably have too high expectations. So eat your vegetables, and then if you need targeted supplementation as well, absolutely do it. So we're talking a lot about gut health already as it relates to you said women tend to get constipated. Gut health, even if you're not constipated, is very important. You might not feel the impact of your digestion, but the permeability of your gut is really important for your overall level of inflammation and for, again, how we excrete estrogen and all of that. So can you give us some tips for maybe women going through menopause? What can they do to improve their gut health?
Yeah, gut health is so important, and that I think it's fascinating how, you know, with research that's coming out, that there's such a huge connection between the gut and the brain.
Yes.
How our gut and how we are feeling really affects, you know, it affects everything.
Yes.
You know, the vagus nerve is the very extremely large nerve that goes directly to the gut. And this, you know, if you're feeling anxious or you're nervous or you're upset, you know, it affects the gut, and it also affects your mood. So it's so crucial, gut health. What I would recommend for ladies going through this time in their life is to focus on the microbiome. Again, good old estrogen, when that starts to decline, we've seen that can affect like the bacteria in the gut. So what the microbiome is, it's like the bacteria that we now know is so crucial for so many different aspects of health. And how you can work on that is by eating probiotics, what we call probiotics. They're like the good bugs that we want there, from fermented foods like sauerkraut, kimchi, kefir, or any sort of fermented vegetables. I actually make my own sauerkraut at home. And it's really easy. It can get a bit smelly. My husband's not always so impressed by it because it has to kind of ferment for a couple of weeks.
Yes.
You have to release the gas every day. But it's so easy to make it. It's basically white cabbage and a little bit of salt. Yes. So it's very easy. There's actually a recipe on my website if anybody's interested.
Oh, great. We'll link to it. I've done it before, but it's been years. So I think you're inspiring me to do that. Thank you.
It's so easy. I always have a big jar in the fridge, and that is a great source of probiotics. Other fermented vegetables, you can do it with carrots. You can use red cabbage. So really getting those fermented foods. And I think fermented foods isn't something that we eat a lot of. I know in the Western world, we don't tend to be that aware of fermented foods. But even if I try to have kimchi every day, or sauerkraut, and just you don't have to eat a lot, just really having maybe like a couple of tablespoons with one of your meals in the day is a great way to get in that good bacteria. So focusing on that, and also it's a bit like a garden, our microbiome in the gut, and we need the good bacteria, but we also need to feed that good bacteria. And that's something that we call prebiotics, because that bacteria loves, going back to fiber, it loves to eat fiber, and it likes all, vegetables, and asparagus is a great prebiotic, artichokes. So you really have to feed that to keep that balance there, because what we don't want is the bad bugs to take over, because there is a fine balance in the gut. So really eating those sort of foods and feeding the gut bacteria is very good for digestion and gut health. Another area for gut health is to eat. Think about how you eat. eat slowly, chew your food properly, and
Yes.
try not to eat when you're stressed.
Yes.
Very easy, isn't it? We're all busy. I appreciate that. But if you're eating when you're stressed, your body will actually find it very difficult to digest
Yes.
because of
Absolutely.
stress response. So, maybe if you are stressed, just take a few deep breaths before you start eating and just try and
Yes.
calm down.
Yes. I
Really is.
love that tip. And it feels so simplistic, honestly, to someone like me who likes science and all of this stuff. And it is one of the most powerful things that has helped my digestion and my blood sugar. Even I monitor my blood sugar. And if I'm in a stressed out state, I can eat the same exact meal and I get a much bigger spike versus if I just calm myself down a little bit, take a few deep breaths, and maybe step away from the computer and eat in a relaxed state, that same meal might have a wonderful response.
Yeah, it's really interesting, isn't it? It's also, research has shown that if you eat with your family or with friends, if you eat in a social environment, that you
Yes.
digest food better. There's been studies that weight gain, you because you eat slower and you maybe don't eat as much, that it's
Yes.
weight management. If you sit in front of the television or you're working on your computer, they see that people tend to eat more.
Yes.
Because you're on your own and you're working, you're not mindful of how much you're eating. So, it's interesting.
So
Another thing
interesting.
for health is sleep, crucial.
Mm,
That we allow our body to rest and repair. And really,
yes.
another area I think that not many people think about is artificial sweeteners. They've been
Yes.
really be detrimental to the gut bacteria.
Yes. Oh, such wonderful areas there. The second to last one you mentioned was sleep, which honestly is a common challenge with people going through menopause. I will often counsel my clients, okay, let's work on sleeping a little bit more. And it's challenging. Even if they think they're doing the right things, the shifts in hormones can make it challenging. So how do you guide people going through menopause to sleep better, not just quantity, but also quality?
Sleep can be very tricky during this time because of the decline in hormones, and it's just so, it affects everything, doesn't it? If we're not
Yes.
sleeping, it goes into this like spiral of negativity, and
Yes.
you just feel horrible.
Yes.
But I work very individually because we're all different. But what I try to put in place with my clients is a routine that they would do in the evenings that works for them.
Yes.
Just really trying to like calm down before you go to bed. Even if it's 30 minutes, an hour, where you're not watching television, you're not working, you're not looking at your phone, no, bright lights, maybe turn the light down a little bit where you're sitting.
Mhm.
Have a chat with someone in the family, or just sit there, read a book, do something calming at
Yes.
least an hour before you go to bed. It might sound very simple, but that is really, really crucial. And then obviously avoiding all the stimulants
Yes.
like caffeine,
Yes.
alcohol. I know a lot of women, when we're feeling tired and we've had a busy day at work, it is, of course, it's nice to have a glass of wine in the evenings, but that really doesn't help sleep. And as we come into perimenopause, I know a lot of my friends and clients have said, I've just don't drink anymore because it's just not worth the way that I feel. So I try to say to people, see how low you can go with alcohol.
Yeah.
Of course, it's nice to have the odd glass of wine or whatever you like to drink, but try to cut that out a few
Absolutely.
nights of the week, because it really does have an effect on sleep. And also, de-stressing, really thinking about what you can do to de-stress for sleep. So, and things like I love all the herbal teas, the chamomile and lemon balm. They're very calming. I think
Yes.
magnesium as well is magnesium glycinate is fantastic for sleep if you're really having problems. Epsom
Yes.
salt baths as well, I'm a huge fan of. That's allows magnesium to be absorbed into the skin. I know a lot of women that have real problems with sleep, if they have a nice long bath with Epsom salts before they go to bed, it really does help.
Yes. Oh, magnesium is my number one favorite supplement of all of them. So I love that you touched on that, and some really wonderful tips too about allowing your body and your mind to really wind down. It's a nice thought. And I have this thought too, that I could just go, 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 and then be so tired that I fall right asleep. And I wish that happened, but it just doesn't. Our brain and our body needs some time to wind down without that stimulation from screens and work and all the to-do list and all of that. So giving yourself that gift of allowing yourself to wind down. And the other thing in there was when you said alcohol and screens and all of that, a lot of my clients will say, well, the alcohol actually helps me fall asleep, or playing my Candy Crush game or whatever helps me fall asleep. And that might be true. It might improve latency, but the quality of sleep is absolutely tanked when we have those things, the blue light stimulation or alcohol or anything like that. So I always advise, try to pay attention to how you feel the next morning. It's not just about, oh, I fell asleep in 3 minutes versus 10 minutes. It's how refreshed do you feel? How much deep sleep did you get? Did you toss and turn all night? Did you wake up 8 times? All of that is what's really impacted by that stuff we do before bed.
Yeah, totally agree with you, Megan. It's the quality of sleep, isn't it? I mean, it's the same with coffee.
Yeah,
You know, people, oh, why can't, I can drink coffee. I can have coffee in the evening. I fall asleep. Yes, you might fall asleep, but the quality of your sleep, it doesn't allow you to go into those different sleep patterns that are the beneficial that you need to go into. You sleep much lighter.
absolutely agree. Okay, I've got a couple more questions for you. Let's talk about some of the visible things, because I like to believe that health is from the inside, but it's also important to take care of how you feel. And if that involves how you look from the outside, I think that's great. So let's talk about muscles and skin. These are two things that are really impacted by menopause and hormone shifts. What are some things that you advise clients to do about these?
Yeah, good, great question. That I actually am a trained esthetician.
Oh, wow. I didn't know
So
that.
skin, yeah, no, skin health, I totally understand. I've actually worked with menopausal women's skin health, because that is an area that, all of a sudden we can develop acne when we
Yes.
come into perimenopause. So it's a very crucial area, and we start to see changes in the skin and also the muscles, like you say. But if we talk about skin health first, one thing that you will notice when you come into menopause, or as you get older as a woman, how you treated your skin when you were younger will start to show up. So,
Mhm.
for example, if you're a sun lover, you can get away with it when you're younger,
Right.
but then all of a sudden you start seeing this like pigmentation coming out on the skin. You think, well, that wasn't there before. Where did that come from? And it's basically the damage that you've done over the years suddenly starts to appear as you get older, and it can be in the form of what we call like age spots on the skin, hyperpigmentation, where you get dark areas on the skin. So having a good skincare routine with a good sun protection factor in it is really, I mean, it's crucial for skin health whatever age you are, but it's
Yes.
even more important as you get older to really protect the skin, and also keeping the skin hydrated, because when estrogen starts to decline, estrogen again affects so many different areas. And what estrogen does, it enables the skin to bind water, to bind fluid. So as that starts to decline, you can find your skin becomes a lot drier. So using products that are very hydrating, and having a good skincare routine, cleansing your skin with a product that suits your skin type, using a good day cream with an SPF in, maybe an eye cream, maybe a serum, and exfoliating the skin, getting rid of the surface dead skin cells for skin renewal. And then, I mean, if it's something you enjoy and want to do, there's plenty of professional treatments that you can do in a beauty salon that really can help to stimulate and improve the skin. So there's many things that you can do for your skin, but finding products that work for you and protect your skin from the sun. And then obviously thinking about what you eat, because it reflects in your skin how you are inside, doesn't it? And making sure you've got all the vitamins and minerals and everything that you need for skin health. And then muscles, the key. I'm a talk about muscles a lot because it's such a key area for menopausal women, because basically you need to keep your muscles strong. When we come into perimenopause, our muscle strength, the muscles can start to decline. We lose what we call muscle mass. And we need muscles are so crucial. Really, really keep us strong and will enable us to have, the next 30 years of our lives strong and healthy. Strength training, I know that's not nutrition, but that is a key area, is doing strength training. And it doesn't mean you have to go to the gym for 2 hours a day. Just make sure that you lift things, and keeping those muscles that you've got, rather than declining in muscles and becoming weaker. And the key thing, really, amongst many things to eat, is protein. Protein is the building blocks of the body, which we need for skin health, and we also really need for muscle health. So making sure it's, again, we were talking about fats earlier, protein is an area that we we don't eat enough of it.
Agreed.
And really, as women, we should increase our protein intake a little bit as we get older. And it also, if we talk about weight management, if you eat more protein, you're just not as hungry. When you think of protein sources, things like meat, fish, if you're a vegetarian, you've got like your soya, tofu, all those lovely healthy protein sources. So really, I say try to have a palm size of protein on your plate with every meal, because it really will improve your strength and your muscle strength and your skin health, amongst other things.
Oh, I love everything you just said, from strength training and taking care of your skin and more protein. Almost all of us need to focus on more protein and fiber, as you've said so well during this time. And you touched on weight maintenance as it relates to strength training. I think that strength training is underestimated in terms of its potential to improve our body composition and the way we look. You've given us a lot of tips for weight management throughout this whole interview, but are there any other things you would like to add about weight gain during menopause and what people can do about it?
Yeah, it's a big thing, isn't it, weight gain? I know that a lot of women, it's just so unfair, really, isn't it? Because you all of a sudden you're not doing anything different, and you just feel this like extra weight coming on, and it's normally around the abdomen, like the stomach area. And we still don't fully understand, but there are so many different factors that come into play when it comes to weight gain during menopause. And we can't blame everything on menopause. It is also like the aging process. So it's kind of like a combination of everything comes together, and we maybe become less active. If you're suffering from all these menopausal symptoms, and a lot of women really suffer badly with a lack of confidence and depression, it doesn't give you that stimulation to go out and be active and maybe go to the gym. So you're becoming less active. You're eating the same amount. What I say to you can't eat the same amount that you ate when you were 20, 30. You have to eat smaller portions, and it doesn't mean that you can't enjoy food. You just really have to think about not eating as much, because of the metabolic effects that estrogen has on the body. Our metabolism slows down. So we actually don't need as much energy. So really be mindful of how much food that you put on your plate. And also, I think when it comes to weight management, you really have to think about long term. It's a lifestyle change, and it really doesn't have to be complicated. I think the key things with weight management is to reduce or avoid all the processed, highly refined foods. Because they don't do anything for your health. And if you're to cut out all those foods that basically have no nutritional value and eat nutritional foods, you will naturally lose weight. It's all
Yes.
about healing the body and allowing the body to, release the extra weight that you've got. And it might take a while. If you've been carrying a lot of weight for many years, it won't happen overnight.
Right.
But it's a lifestyle change. It's really about choosing to eat nutritious foods and avoiding all the, what I call the toxic foods that are on the market.
Oh, now you've been speaking my language this whole time, but especially that last part, I absolutely love. Thank you for sharing that. So last question before we ask for you to share how people can get in contact with you. There's a negativity so often surrounding menopause and a resistance and a shame and just a lot of stigma around it. How would you advise women to embrace menopause or at least go at it with a positive attitude?
Yeah, I would always like to say to people is to embrace this time as a new beginning.
Great.
And think of menopause as it's a totally natural process.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a disease.
Yeah.
Every single woman in the world will go through menopause.
Yes.
So it's a totally natural process, but suffering isn't.
Mm.
So really, there's so many things that can be done to make the experience through this transition so much easier. So ask for help, ask for support, get the knowledge so you know what's available to you, and really look after yourself. I think that's the key, that you really have to just give yourself that little bit of extra time to look after yourself.
Yes.
And as you were saying, Megan, there are positive things to menopause. I mean, there's no more periods.
Yes.
Which, great, we're all happy about that. You can have sex without having to worry about getting pregnant.
Yes.
If you suffer from fibroids, which I know a lot of women do, they'll shrink. Mm-hmm. No more PMS. And it also gives you time for yourself. So it's that time in your life where you can start doing the things that you want to do and embrace life and just go out there and have fun.
Yes. Oh, that's so wonderful. I know that you have enticed so many people who want to learn more from you. So can you tell our listeners where they can find your work and get in touch with you?
Yeah, thank you. I think the best place to get in touch with me is via my website, which is Alison Bladh, that's BLADH.com. On there, you can find all my social media. I'm on all social media. Just if you look for Alison Bladh, you'll find me. Also on my website, I have a resources page where there's lots of very nice free downloads, recipes, meal plans, what we've been talking about, different sorts of whole foods and really how to think about eating when you go through this time. So feel free, any of your listeners want to download anything from there, that's great. And if anyone wants to talk to me or email me, then please feel free. I offer free discovery calls where we can have a chat about your health goals.
This is amazing. There's just so much value there and all of those free downloads. So I will absolutely link to your website, the downloads, all your social media. And please, listeners, if you or someone you love is beginning or going through this menopausal transition, I know you can learn so much from Alison. So go check out those links in the show notes. And Alison, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your time and your wisdom.
Oh, thank you, Megan. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Of course.